now and then we all face the inevitable task of cleaning out our closets. Most of us were taught the classic 3-pile method of keep, toss, and donate. The donation pile is then most likely dropped off at a donation bin or at a charity shop like Goodwill if you're in the US. Donating is typically seen as a guilt-free way to declutter and to help those in need. However, the reality is that the vast majority of donated clothes may not find new homes or help those in need as much as we assume.
Wait, what?
It's estimated that only about 10 to 20% of clothes donated to charity shops in the US are actually sold. So where do our donated clothes actually end up? Take Goodwill for instance, which receives billions of pounds of donations per year. In 2021 alone, Goodwill handled over 107 million donations, totaling around 5.7 billion pounds. But here's the catch. Only about half of these donations meet the quality standards for retail. Clothes fit for sale stay in stores for about 4 weeks before being moved to Goodwill outlets where items are sold for 99 cents per pound. Unsold items at the outlets are then sent to Goodwill auctions where mystery bins full of items are sold for as little as $35 each. Finally, what clothing remains gets sent to textile recycling centers or shipped overseas to enter the global secondhand trade. The global secondhand trade is where unsold donated goods and even new overproduced clothes are sold, and it's an imperfect and opaque system. Clothes sent overseas can harm local economies because local merchants can't possibly compete with the low prices of these imported secondhand clothes. Not to mention that many of the clothes are of such poor quality that they are deemed worthless upon arrival and end up being dumped in landfills or even in the environment. For instance, in Chile, a mountain of dumped clothes in the Atacama Desert has gotten so big that it can be seen from space.
Yikes.
Chile is the leading importer of secondhand clothing in South America as reported by the Observatory of Economic Complexity. This is attributed to more lenient regulations on importing used clothing compared to neighboring countries such as Peru and Bolivia, which restrict importing low-quality textiles that have little to no chance of being resold. The pile of clothing covering hundreds of acres is comparable in size to New York's Central Park. This extensive collection represents over a decade of covert clothing dumps hidden in plain sight. Unfortunately, the local government lacks the resources needed to address this growing environmental disaster. Ghana faces a similar textile waste disaster with the Kantamanto market in Accra, one of the world's largest secondhand textile markets, contributing to overflow issues. Every week, around 15 million used garments from the UK, Europe, North America, and Australia inundate Accra, flooding the city's vast clothing market. Around 40% of these clothes are of such low quality that they're considered worthless upon arrival. But only a fraction of the daily textile waste is disposed of in landfills, leading to widespread pollution, especially on beaches where the fabrics become entwined with the sand, posing significant cleanup challenges. Textiles that end up in the ocean move with the current and form long, twisting fabric arms that locals describe as tentacles. These tentacles make it challenging for locals to swim or fish in the area. Not to mention that most of these textiles are made of synthetic fibers that break down and release microplastics into the environment. Kenya is also experiencing a worsening textile waste crisis, evident in the pollution of waterways and the air due to incineration. The banks of the Nairobi River have become an informal dumping ground for the market's textile waste. The Dandora dump site, which is still fully operational despite being declared full in 2001, has trucks full of textile waste constantly arriving to pile yet more waste on the site at all hours of the day and night, creating an all-around-the-clock environmental challenge. The people in these places are not responsible for this problem, but they're forced to live with it. These secondhand markets were not set up to handle the rapidly increasing rate at which clothes are being simultaneously produced and discarded in the global north. We are basically exporting the burdens of dealing with our post-consumer textile waste to countries that are even less equipped to deal with them. One significant issue is that people are using clothes donation as a form of convenient disposal rather than contributing to a circular system. There is a disconcerting trend of people donating unwearable clothes, which highlights a problem with how we often see clothes as easily disposable. So does this mean that we should stop donating our clothes?
Oh, come on!
Not necessarily, but there are other ways that we can extend the lifespan of our unwanted clothes before we consider donating to charity shops. Let's explore some of those options, shall we?
Okay, let's go.
Number 1, sell online. Consider selling your unwanted clothes through apps such as Depop, Poshmark, Vinted, Mercari, eBay, and many others. This ensures the garment goes to someone who will actually wear it, and you can also make some extra cash on the side, which is always a good thing. Clothing swaps. Organize a clothing swap where you can exchange unwanted items with your friends and family. Depending on where you live, you can even organize a clothing swap event for the entire neighborhood or town to participate in. Donate locally. Donate directly to local organizations working with people who need new clothes immediately, such as local domestic violence shelters or homeless shelters. A quick Google search will help you find organizations in your area that you can contact to see what items they accept. Donate to national or international organizations. There are national and international organizations that take in specific items to distribute to low-income people. These include organizations like Dress for Success, who provide professional attire to low-income women for job interviews, Souls for Souls, who provide new shoes and clothing to people in crisis, and Becca's Closet, who provides prom dresses to girls who can't afford them. Upcycling. If you have any sewing skills and like to get creative, upcycling is a really fun way to make something completely new with your old clothes. Buy nothing groups, because one man's trash really is another man's treasure, and there might be someone in your area who's looking for the items you no longer want and will gladly come to you to take them off your hands. Pet shelters. Donate any blankets, towels, old bedding, and any unwanted pet supplies to your local pet shelter. People often forget about this option, but it makes all the difference to those animals. If you've exhausted all the alternative ways I previously mentioned, then you can donate to your local thrift store. But remember, if you're donating or selling those clothes, please ensure that they are in the best condition possible. That means they're not heavily worn, are clean, and free of damage. Any clothes unfit for selling or donating can be repurposed into something else, like turning old t-shirts into rags for cleaning around the house, or even making pet toys out of sturdier fabrics. For anything that can't be repurposed, consider recycling through local textile recyclers or companies like 4 Days. 4 Days has this take-back bag that diverts up to 15 pounds of fashion waste from landfills. All you have to do is order the bag online, fill it with your unwanted goods, scan the code on the bag to print out your shipping label, and return it to a USPS location near you. In conclusion, the journey of our donated clothes is more complex than we might think. By being mindful of our contributions and exploring alternative ways to extend the lifespan of our garments, we can collectively make a positive impact. Taking responsibility for the disposal of our clothes also helps us to be more mindful of our clothing consumption, which is a complex topic on its own that I could do a whole other video about. So if that's something you'd be interested in, let me know in the comments. If you've made it this far in the video, thank you for listening. Please give this video a thumbs up and share your thoughts in the comments. I'm curious to know if any of this was new information to you. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next upload. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Mwah!